Hello? I think I'm live. Hi, everyone. Um, Welcome to the fan hangout of January 27th, 2019. The monthly hangout and the first hangout of my channel since I got a massive bump in viewership, so to say. So we'll see. Hello, everyone. Hello. There has been some changes in how everything is. I have, and I need to go through them first. First of all, since last month, I published a new video, Anti-Intellectualism, which, in my opinion, was pretty good. And so apparently that a lot of other people also think, because it's currently my most popular video by far. I'm just sharing that I'm live right now on Twitter. Currently in my kitchen. Probably isn't the best idea, considering other people live in my apartment. But hopefully things will be fine. So my last video, Anti-Intellectualism, is currently my most viewed video of that I ever made on any platform. It's been shared by a lot of cool people that I enjoy, and it's led to me getting. I'm currently under review by YouTube to see if I can have ads on my channel too, which is really cool. And so people liked the video, and I got a big bump. And then I also got a big bump from being part of the H-Bomber Guy Donkey Kong 64 stream, talking about history and things like that. Sorry. There's a lot of sounds in my apartment. And I got a big bump from that too. And because I got a big bump from that, I have more than tripled my total views. Easy. I have more than doubled or tripled my subscriber count, and I have gotten over 1,000 people on Twitter. I got almost doubled my patronage, and because of that, I used to do these hangouts kind of like very straightforward. Like, it would be me and like 3 other people, and I would put out the invite link to join this Google Hangout, which is the service I'm using, just in the YouTube chat. But that's not really workable right now. So I'm currently working on a new system to do that, which is going to be slightly more fair to everyone, but it's going to feel a bit more unfair. I'm a bit afraid of. So we'll see how it goes with that. But I'm not going to do that this time. This time, I'm going to make sure that no one feels left out by leaving everyone out, which means that unless something specific happens, if you have something specific that you want to talk about, you can let me know in the chat, and we'll see if I can get like that specific person on. Beyond that, I think I'm not going to really have any guests at all, simply because it's too much too much work currently. But I'm still going to talk. I'm still going to hang out. I'm still going to hang. Good God, that's a lot of chat. Hello, everyone. Something that happened. A lot of spooky sound. Yeah, I'm in my kitchen currently, and a lot of people are just walking around. No one's here to watch. Have a nice stream. Yeah, that's fine. If you're new to the format, which a lot of people are, the way that I usually do these things is that I have a topic to talk about for a while, and then I have a couple of guests on to also talk about that topic. And then we usually drift from that topic a lot, and I just rant about things. But I'm gonna try to do just like a chill hangout using the chat as well. But if you do have something like specific that you want to talk about, and you have a way to contact me, either via the chat or like on Discord, on Twitter, somewhere where I'll see it, let me know, and I'll invite you. The topic for this hangout is going to be anti-intellectualism, because that is the video that I made 2 weeks ago. It feels like it was months ago, but it's literally just 2 weeks ago, and it's about to break 17,000. It might have already, which for me is incredible. However, I should also say that while the topic is anti-intellectualism, we can talk about literally anything. This is just a place to hang out. Like, there are no rules. On Friday, I got that tattoo I mentioned on the last stream, by the way. Oh, nice. Love a good tattoo. Oh, God. I need to reduce my own volume because Discord just screamed at me. Sorry. So, first of all, how did people who join me currently in the chat? What did you think about the anti-intellectualism video? Anti-intellectualism became much more noticeable in the UK during the Brexit referendum. I actually considered using a clip from that because there was a thing. H-Bomber Guy used it in one of his videos, and I didn't feel comfortable using that clip too, and I also felt that I could make my point anyway. But it's like it's one of those like interview things where some guy says that, like, well, people haven't had enough of experts, and the retort guy says, and it's like, are you insane? Like, have enough of experts? And I had a big scene planned out for that, where I was gonna basically just I was gonna like talk a little about how both perspectives could be understood. Michael Gove, he was our education secretary. Okay. And I kind of wanted to dig into like how both perspectives could be understood. I think that kind of drifted a bit from my point, but I still feel that that what I wanted to get across came across. And considering it's my most popular video of all time, I think it did. It might also have had something to do with me pouring syrup all over my face, but who knows? And then I Justice Secretary. Is that the government person in charge of the environment? Didn't Theresa May like shut down basically the environmental thing? How the fuck is Brexit going, by the way? Because I only get the EU perspective, and the EU perspective is awful. The EU perspective is like, is that the British have no idea what they're doing, and they're gonna shoot themselves in the foot over and over and over again, and there's nothing that can be done, and a no deal is incoming. That's basically the predictions currently here, and that doesn't really like sound too good. I'm hoping that things are maybe a bit more optimistic in the UK. Oh God. Can you tell me a bit about the history of the Habsburgs? I mean, I can try. I mean, the Habsburgs is a very complicated family historically. It's hard to do like a SparkNotes version of the Habsburg family, but basically it's this one family that got really into like who were really good at like strategic alliances, and they were in a really good position to do that in the first place, so they could just do that. But it meant, but after a while, it meant that they basically had they had a very long-term perspective, right, on inheritance, which was really useful because they managed to like inherit like a large parts of Germany, modern day Germany, modern day Hungary, Spain. Like the Spanish Empire was under Habsburg rule once. Mexico as well for like a week. All because of like very like strategic marriages and alliances and things like that. But it did mean after a while they kind of dominated most of the royal families of Europe. So they kind of ran out of royal families to wed into, so they had to like marry each other because the Habsburg family became super huge within just a couple of generations. It's also why they have this like the underbite. That underbite was developed because of the inbreeding, and they also like all became hemophiliacs because that happened. It's chaos. Thankfully, the Swedish royal family is not Habsburg related or descended. Instead, we have like French military officers as our royal family. No, like never saw Lucas on underbite. You don't really have to worry at all about. Like no one has to worry about having that kind of underbite. It was like seriously, in a way that you would not really characterize as like as something that happens normally. It's led to like it's like serious health issues arose from it. Like their jaws were not like working properly because it's a genetic trait that just became worse and worse and worse with every generation. It also made them like incredibly frail. Incest, yeah, with bad. It isn't going. We don't. We are. That's quite accurate. Oh, that sucks. Oh, that sucks. I hope Brexit is going to go better. Anti-intellectualism is super popular in the US. Anti-intellectuals basically run our entire government. Your entire government is mind-boggling to me right now, America. It is like the shutdown happened, and now the shutdown is over, and it didn't really do like anything at all. It astounds me how bad everything is. One like quote that I heard that I really want to mention is Donald Trump talked, I think it was on Fox News or some shit, like via the phone, and he talked about like how arguing against Bernie Sanders, saying that, well, he wants the government to do everything and the government can't do anything. We know that. And that's not really what you want to hear from the literal head of government. Like the president of your government saying that the government can't do anything isn't really something that you want to hear. Like even if you're a Republican, like even if you're on that side of the fence, you really don't want to say, well, like, fuck it, we're useless. Jesus. I had a bunch of Brexiters telling me they weren't motivated by reasons, entirely other reasons. Yeah. Ireland and everything, everyone thinks it's pretty stupid. Parliament rejected the deal. The only deal Theresa May could get, and there isn't enough support for anything that could break the deadlock. I actually I had basically my entire apartment sat and like drank things to the vote, and it was really interesting to watch because it was like history in action, right? And I expected it to fail. I didn't expect it to be literally the biggest loss in Parliament in modern democratic history for a government. Like, it's amazing to me that Theresa May hasn't resigned. Like, even if I supported her, I don't really, but like the deal is the best you're gonna get. And even then it's like, well, fuck. At that point you should just resign. I'm sorry. I recently read a pretty good graphic novel about Empress Charlotte of Mexico. She was Habsburg. I think so. I'm not sure. Like Mexican history is not my strong suit. It's extremely interesting to like the little I know, but I don't know enough, unfortunately. It's really not part of. It wasn't like at all part of my education, which sucks. Poor Charles II, yeah. Habsburgs were really into Madden Catholics. They were. Adam Rutherford had a super interesting bit about genetics and Habsburg and a brief history of everyone who ever lived. Ooh, I haven't read that. I'm gonna save that in a different tab. Maximum Habsburg and Charlotte and Power for a few years. Oh. So I just joined just as the incest chat happens. Yes, incest. Well, I mean, like, am I gonna pull a Destiny now? And say that, well, incest in itself isn't necessarily bad, but it's having children. I'm not going to get into that. If you haven't seen, like, I think it's Destiny on Twitch, twitch.tv/Destiny. He has this famous debate. He has a lot of debates, right? And he has this famous debate where he basically does devil's advocate, and he does it well. He actually does like devil's advocate pretty well. And he argues with someone who's a complete fucking moron to say like, why is incest bad? So he kind of like, he doesn't necessarily defend incest, but he's like, he wants to see the arguments against it. And the person is just fucking useless. And it kind of ends with this like, oh, well, I guess incest is good now because you were so shit at arguing against it. It's great. Charles II autopsy reports are just tragic to read. I haven't read them, unfortunately. Isn't it over for just 3 weeks? Yeah, the shutdown seems to be come back, maybe. It's over just as long as that the trial for the Super Bowl isn't affected. That might what? Is the Super Bowl happening right now? God damn, I gotta watch that. People in Sweden love the Super Bowl. I don't know why. But like we stay up to like 4 a.m. to watch that shit. I don't know why. Here conservatives talking about the shutdown. It's insane the number of people who were like, shutdown doesn't matter because I don't know anyone affected by it. I mean, I can see. I remember like a Trump supporter saying he isn't hurting the people he's supposed to hurt, which is like, okay, you're letting the mask slip on conservatism. That's fascist stuff nonsense. There's a common thing here where Republicans screw up government function on purpose, then say, see, government never does anything right. Yeah, they have a tendency of doing that. There's also I don't know exactly where I've read this, but I've heard from, I think it's some kind of feminist debater or opinionator who did this, and it kind of makes sense. It doesn't fully make sense, but it kind of makes sense. Where countries have a tendency, political parties and like political movements, not necessarily like countries, they have a tendency of putting women in positions of power right as things are going bad for the movement. Not necessarily because they think they can save it, but because they can blame it on them, and then they can have like the resurgence when a man takes over again. At the same time, they can claim that, oh, we put a woman in charge. That means that we aren't sexists. So they kind of get the cake and eat it too, which is a fairly common thing, and it's something that I've thought a lot about when it comes to Theresa May. And like currently in Swedish politics, that has definitely been the case, where like the conservative moderate party was tanking votes. They voted in like a woman leader who couldn't fix it. She resigned, and then a male leader came back, and they were like, "Oh yes, now we're gonna fix it. Now we're back to proper leadership," and they just kept tanking anyway, because the problem wasn't the leader. The problem was the politics. Anyway, I'm ranting. Welcome to the fan hangout, by the way. Because I don't have guests currently to interrupt me, this is going to happen a lot. I'm going to talk about the system I'm going to use in the future, by the way, as, a bit later as the stream is approaching a close. And then I'm going to talk about like how I'm going to do it. Again, but however, if you need something like, oh yeah, I want to talk to you specifically on this, let me know, and I can like add you on Discord or something. The chat has trouble keeping up, which is a new problem I have, but it's a good problem to have, I guess. A friend of mine pointed out that before Theresa May won the vote on her confidence, she can use that to claim she has a supporter problem and stay in power. Yeah, I mean, she won the vote on her confidence. Yeah, that kind of. It just sucks. She technically has the support of Parliament, but her deal doesn't, which doesn't make sense to me. Adam Rutherford is one of the best popularized in biology, and I highly recommend it. Oh, I'm gonna read that. Yeah, I'm gonna buy that then. A brief history of everyone has ever lived. The story in our genes. I'm not super into genetics and biology. I failed high school biology. Want to learn a bit about the Mexican history with the Habsburgs? There's a documentary on Netflix called Patria. I'm saving that in the tab too. I'm gonna watch it later tonight. So desperately wanted the UK. Like, can we just pretend Scotland is independent and still part of the EU? I mean, I'm surprised that a second independence referendum hasn't been like a bigger talking point currently in Scottish politics. From what I've seen, there's like talk of it, but there's like, no, we had the vote and it's done. But the vote was still kind of close, and that was before Brexit. And I have no idea how to think about like this, because I know that like semi-nationalists independence thing have been slightly on the rise since Brexit. I don't really see people becoming like more unionist because of Brexit, but I don't really know enough about the UK. It's outside resources in this VP article. Oh, that's cool. The moment it feels like my country is publicly punching itself in the face and it's oddly proud of it. Yeah. Like, you can see where America gets it from. Let's leave England behind to enjoy this. Live almost too far away from Scotland it's possible to be in England, but Scotland at least can I come to? That's why they don't fund public schools and privatization. Yeah, that's a common thing that I've seen a lot, where they will like severely underfund government institutions, and then when the politics doesn't work, and they are ousted out of power during the election campaign, when they try to get back to power, they will say like, well, they ruined it. Nothing works. All government institutions are broken. It's like, yeah, well, you did that. That happened a lot in Sweden as well, where a couple of years ago we had a right-wing government and they privatized basically fucking everything, and then everything broke. And now during the election, they kind of said that, oh, we should privatize things more to fix it. But they didn't win, so. That's my roommate. So well, goddamn, I have no idea. Like that's kind of chaos right now. So I'm getting distracted by my roommate playing Overwatch. They're yelling quite loud. Oh yeah, the point that I was gonna say is that one of the most expensive hospitals in the world right now is built in Stockholm, and it's not good. Like, it doesn't work. It's incredibly broken. It's awful. And it just means that like everything is it's like it was mired in corruption. It's like faulty. It's like not constructed properly. It's chaos. Hang on. Let's see if I can find everything that works. Okay. I actually have a guest who's a friend of mine who's going to talk about the government shutdown. But first I'm going to try to catch up with Chad. Which political parties are the new Swedish government? Am I right that it's the Social Democrat, Center Party, and the Liberal Party? Yes, and the Environmental Party. The Environmental Party is part of that as well. They're the smallest part of it, though, because no one likes them, but they're there. So that pact is called the January Pact, but technically, so the political parties that make up the government is the Social Democrats and the Environmental Party. That's the government, but they are supported by something called the January Pact, which includes the Centre Party and the Liberal Party. But then the January Pact does still not have a majority. But the January Pact is also kind of tolerated by the Left Party. And as long as the January Pact don't start fucking with workers' rights and rent control, then they will be allowed to have a government. But if they start fucking with that, then the Left Party will stop supporting them instantly, because let's not like privatize rent control and stuff like that. Super Bowl is next week. I'm gonna try to catch up. Goddamn, so much. Super Bowl is next week, February 3rd. Today's Pro Bowl. Next Super Bowl, no one watches. In the UK, public schools are called private schools. I don't get that. What the fuck? Like America, the UK, get with the program. Public is the private, and the private is the public. I don't get it. Theresa May is in a situation no one wants what she can realistically offer, but no one wants to replace her. I mean, I can get that. I kind of just want her to resign just to see like how no one wants to take her job right now. I've been wondering for a while now how Scandinavians seeing Russia, as in, are they a threat or does it not matter to them? I know Ukrainians and Poles hate Russians. We don't really mind Russians. Like, we see them as, like, we don't see them as like political allies or anything, but we don't see them as like straight up enemies either. They technically border us over the Baltic Sea, but we have this like calm tension with them. We don't actively hate them, but we are. I know the Swedish military is always ready, just in case, like just in case they come. Historically, Sweden and Russia has always been like enemies because we kept fighting, and we kept winning until they won really big and just took Finland from us. But right now we don't really hate them. We're too far away from them. We mostly hate the Danes. The party is unwilling to either put up or shut up. Wonderful problem. You're growing, what you deserve. Yeah, it's a problem. She has the support of Parliament because her coalition has a slightly independent party, and they don't want to lose that majority. They rather shit leave than a Labour government. Yeah, it doesn't really work. But I see how that works. It's just weird to me that you would support Theresa May in government but not support her deal, because currently the deal is the most important thing in British politics. I won't lie, the possibility of the UK breaking up was one of the things I was first afraid of when Brexit was announced. The only reason I don't have an Irish passport right now is that I'm not Irish enough. In the UK, whenever Russians are mentioned, it's very much in the context of the enemy. Yeah, it's kind of like that too, actually. We consider them potential enemies, but we're more neutral, right? We're not part of NATO. We're part of the EU, but that's it. So we don't really see the Russia as this like big baddie. We mostly see them as like weird. Does Russian expansionism worry you, Mia? Yes, it does. I don't like all kinds of expansionism are super bad. I think all kinds of expansionism is super bad, and I don't think it's a good thing at all. I don't like at all how Russia has handled a lot of situations. I think Russia is a very dangerous country to be opposed and to be in currently, and I'm worried about that. I don't like that. But the thing is, like, I worry. Like, I know more about like ideology and like political leanings and like big swathing movements as most countries work. But Russia doesn't seem to be working that way, and I have no idea like what massive systemic forces is pulling the strings on Russia, because who knows, honestly. Like they still have like a significant communist party, for example, but that communist party like supports policies that are definitely not at all even leftist. So who the fuck knows? Like nothing matters anymore. It's very like post-truth when it comes to Russia, which worries me. It worries me also that a lot of people have become like contented with that. Like, I know there's a lot of like talk about like Russian bots, and it's like a meme at this point, right? But I remember, because I worked in local government, right? In the running up to the Swedish election, I worked in local government, and I worked specifically in the part of like welfare and democracy. I worked in the welfare bit, talking about like LGBT inclusion in schools and like protected homes and shelters and stuff like that. I went there and I talked about like, hey, you can include trans people and gay people into what you're doing, and everyone will be safer. I did that. That was my job. But at my department, we dealt with we prepped for the election, and there were so many like security briefings. There were so many. We got so many like security pamphlets. There came experts from the Swedish like security service in to like talk to us about like, okay, this is how you prepare for potential misinformation campaigns from Russia. And it's like, okay, like even if it's a meme, it's a real problem that people are actually concerned with. Even if it's very overblown, something is up, and I don't like that. Imperialism bad, yeah. Like I like when like I see that for most things. We're having a big vote on how Parliament wants Brexit to turn out tomorrow, but a second referendum has been taken off the table. No deal as an might be taken off the table though. That doesn't make sense though. If if a second referendum and no deal both are taken off, then you have to have the other deal. Like you're painting yourself into a corner. Parliament, come on. Russia, UK, was translated in Novi shock attack. Oh yeah, I can definitely imagine that. Government workers are the best. Have you read Alexander Dugin's Foundations of Geopolitics? I might. That sounds very familiar. Geopolitical book. The book has had a large influence within the Russian military police and foreign policy elites, and it has been used as a textbook in the Academy of the General Staff. I haven't read this. Took an interest in Dugin, a Russian fascist and a nationalist who developed a close relationship with Russia's Academy of the General Staff. This seems very interesting to read. I haven't read it. Article 50 can be revoked, extended, or revoked as options that aren't may deal, no deal. Oh, so yes, don't do Brexit. Was Sweden affected by the liberal revolutions of 1848? Kind of, but that's like right before I start, like my area of expertise kicks in. It's not even translating into English, unfortunately. The best I found was an English paraphrase. Oh well, I can't read Russian at all. I don't know. The languages that I can read is Swedish, English, some French, Dutch, and some German. And that's basically what I can read. Peterson is a huge fan of Dugin. Okay, someone who is on Wikipedia described as a fascist. If Wikipedia calls someone a fascist, that's pretty. Someone wants to understand American culture and backstanders politics. I highly recommend Empire of Illusion by Chris Hedges. I'm going to save that too. So many book tips. Brexit lays out what appears to be a modern Russian foreign policy. It is from place on my. That makes sense. Okay. Damn. Already a lot of good topics. I'm going to have on a guest now. And this is probably the way I'm going to do it in the future as well. It's also part of my my Patreon reward. So as very soon, actually, I'm going to probably have access to becoming a guest, somewhat limited to, it's going to be freely available to people who fund me on Patreon over, I think it's $5. And if you do that, then you're like, oh yeah, you can even stream if you want to, and if you have something to say, and if I have a spot, right? But I can also be like, if someone has a topic that they want to talk about, and I want to hear about the topic specifically, then I can, yeah, come on, I can do whatever I want. It's my stream, I can do what I want. Okay, so let's invite. Did I convert anyone to PDF to say trees? You become mad by power. Yes. You're not going to be able to stop me. I'm not sure if you can hear that. Damn, roommate. Can anyone stop me or not? No. No. No one can stop me. Heated gaming moments. Christ. Hear the strange screaming? I live in this. This is my life. Roommate winning? I have no idea. They scream. A lot of people are concerned. They're okay. It's just that I think something's happening. Either they're winning or they're losing. I remember having a clip when I recorded my video on when I recorded my video on my latest video on anti-intellectualism. I'm trying to invite a guest currently. That's why I might be quiet. I'm trying to focus. Gotta say, you sound a bit alienated. Hold on. What do you mean alienated? That sort of energy can't be good for pot plant. My pot plant is in my room, my bedroom. I'm currently in the kitchen. Are you close to your roommate? Physically, kind of, like a couple of meters. Emotionally, yeah, I'd say so. Ask them what their main is. Sombra is their main. I'm trying to invite. This usually works. The fuck? It's so weird. I come from a culture where living, relatively speaking, by yourself is a bad sign. I have 4 roommates. I am surrounded by people. The DMing and the link. I'm trying to do that. Please invite me from my email. Links. Buttons. What? What? Wait. It works. You can post it. Okay. Have you watched any Jesse Lee Peterson? Is he the guy who says amazing? Yes. Amazing. Amazing. Jesse Lee Peterson is amazing. I saw I haven't actually seen any of his stuff until I saw the until I saw Destiny was on, because I'm a fan of Destiny. Amazing. And it really, like, it melted my brain so much. Like that. Good God. Do you love black people? Yeah. Like every single question is like, do you love black conservatives? Do you hate black conservatives? It's like, how do I answer that? Because I don't like conservatives, but you're specifically asking me black conservatives. So it's like I have to say I don't like black conservatives, but the questions, hi. Very close to your father, Mary. I'd say 50%, 50% each. What is a man? What is a man to you? Amazing. Beta. God damn, I love that debate. It's fucking great. Like, his content is so weird to me. Like, I saw that. Like, I had actually, like, when I saw that the first day, I had actually, like, had some anxiety about my channel and my content. I was like, oh, I'm not, like, I can't do this. I'm not smart enough to do this. My content might, like, work, but it's like it's not gonna work. Like, no one's gonna actually, like, see my content and be, like, intellectually stimulated by it. And then I saw that and saw that he has, like, hundreds and thousands of subscribers. And people think that he is really smart. And I go, and then I didn't feel bad anymore. Then I felt like, oh, well, how hard can it be? Who's a man to you? What do you think the latest consequence video hasn't received in turf backlash? I kind of seen a downplaying turf rhetoric recently, but I think it's specifically because, like, turfs don't really talk that much about, like, trap in the same way. They talk more about, like, colonization, where trans people, like, imitate, but that's not really the same thing as trapping someone. And it all means that can distract it. And I think it's just a different demographic. I don't think that it's, like, been super big in turf circles. Plus, I also think that, like, the video is probably too smart for most turfs to understand, because most turfs are not smart. I got asked if I thought girls who like maths are weird, and yes, at the same time, I found anyone who likes maths weird. Yeah, like, that's loaded questions is so weird. It was weird to him to bring up race. Amazing. It was weird for him to bring up race when talking about conservatives, but when he asked about Steve King, suddenly it was just a nationalist, not a white nationalist. Yeah, it's like clear. It's like clear double standards. It's clear, like, not actually interested in, like, any kind of debate, or like any kind of conversation, really. It's just this. It's just a platform for ranting, which I realize it's literally what I'm doing right now. Amazing. In another interview, he actually said, I didn't ask for a thoughtful answer in response to a thoughtful answer. That's perfect. Don't explain your views to me. Just give me sound bites. I watched Contor's recent video. I found the criticism used by using the word in the title and the context of the video to be rather harsh. It was very clear she didn't like that phrase. Yeah, I like that video, actually, like, quite a lot. I tweeted, like, I'm not afraid to be critical of Natalie when I feel that I need to, but I didn't really find, like, there are some very, like, critical perspectives sometimes that like were missing from that specific video. But that specific video is also very directed, not specifically to, like, me as a demographic. It's like outspokenly directed to straight men who talk about trans women as traps. And I think for the purposes of what it is, I think it's really good. For the purposes of, like, as a general video for everyone, I think it's I think it's lack something. But you could say the same thing for my videos too. I prefer to think of what you do as spontaneous, eclectic introspection. Thank you. I'm gonna have that on. That's what I'm gonna. That's what I'm gonna say on in my biography. You're all my muses. I mean, one day I'm gonna write fucking like political literature. So the Capital 2 Electric Boogaloo. Electric Industry Boogaloo. Speak to people. I think you need to go and utilize your right click on a capital link and send it to person. I'm technically on Google Hangouts, which I've used like a tons of time before, but it's like it's just not at all working for some reason. I think I would need to probably shut down the stream and start it up again in order to like fix whatever issues I'm having, because I've never had this problem before. Can you see if it can generate a different hangout? Hang on. Can I do it like this maybe? How is it possible I've done this so many times and still every single time it's broken? Technology, why? I want to talk about the government shutdown. Invite people to a video call. Yeah, I'm doing all of that. It just the link exists. It's just it leads to a broken page for some reason. So like so like the link works and I can invite people and I can send out invite emails, but it's just that the link doesn't lead to the stream. It just leads somewhere else, and I have no idea how to link here because the link that I get in order to invite people leads not to my call. I want to be muses. I'm so sorry. No, you don't have to be sorry. What are some of the things that you are critical of? I remember you mentioned the aesthetic video in one of your own, but I don't remember your voice and criticism. I just mentioned it. I just mentioned it in that video. I'm not going to talk about it too much. I think she lacks. I think she just lacks some perspective sometimes, talking about gender and identity, not specifically gender identity, but like gender and identity. And I sometimes think that while the theories that she presents are like solid and they work, I think they're a bit too abstract, so that they make sense within themselves, but they don't like once you start like looking at like real people, it kind of falls apart. And that's like one of the areas of my criticism within the video itself. But I didn't really want to like call out Natalie specifically for that, because it's not just like it's not a problem just with her. It's a problem like a lot of people who don't necessarily only, but they focus a lot on theory and like philosophical arguments a lot. And it bothers me because it leads to people coming in the comments like, I don't even have nearly this experience, and it makes me really uncomfortable to say for someone to like generalize my experiences in this way, which is what a lot of people felt about that video. I've never had this problem before. That's what they all say. God damn it. Hard weekend, okay. Google's having performance anxiety, apparently. TERF Twitter reminds me of the bog of stench in the film The Labyrinth with David Bowie. Yeah, probably. I'm blocked by a fuck ton of TERFs because I'm like on 2 block lists. I'm on 2 block lists made by like specifically like gender critical people. I'm on 1 block list which comes from like LGB anti like they don't want anything to do with like trans people at all. I'm on one of those block lists too. Like I'm on like people put on block lists a lot, and I feel that it's fun because then I don't have to see them, and they don't have to see me. I mean, I can talk about people I know who've been screwed over in the meantime. In the government shutdown, I can imagine that a fuck ton of people have been. That has to do with practical applicability of the theory. Yeah, I also mentioned that in my video where I criticized it, where it's like there is value in those discussions. There's good knowledge to be gained from having like overly abstract theoretical discussions. It's just that I feel that that's not really what she wanted. That's not really what she wanted to do. I think that she wanted to apply her reasoning a bit more practically, and that's where I think it falls apart. But just as just an abstract idea, fine, whatever, and works. But practicality, I think at least when you're talking about like real issues that affect real people, it's hard to you need to either be like super clear with being abstract, that you are abstract, like this is the goal of what I'm doing. This has nothing to do with real people. This is just like my thoughts on the thing. I think you need to be super clear about that. Or you'd need to actually think about the practical applications of your theory. And it doesn't even have to be like super well connected either. It can literally be just a very generic explanation that like doesn't actually like specify anything. But if I ever find myself on a block list, I'd be surprised. I was well known enough to be on a block list. But like contrast videos play better if you understand them as an internal conversation. I mean, yeah, but like I get that, and a lot of people have like defended some viewpoints there, and I get that too. I think that it's more than an internal conversation. Like the reasoning within the theory is an internal conversation, but the goal and the end point of that conversation has to be something else, or is according to me at least presented as something else, and that's where I become uncomfortable. But like I want to specify, I love ContraPoints. I love Natalie. I love her content. I want to be friends with her. I want to like help her make videos. I want her to I want her to be in my next video. Not specifically my next video actually, because I have a couple of videos lined up. But I actually thought about this like yesterday because I was reading a book that I haven't read in years called Psychopatica Sexualis, written by Rutger Kraft-Ebing, who was a sexologist like over 100 years ago. It's my favorite book. I love it. He talks about different sexual fetishes, and he also talks about sexual inversion, which is one of the first times ever in medical history where someone identifies gender, sex, and sexuality as like distinct things. But he does it in the goal of trying to cure it, trying to cure LGBT people, which is unfortunate. But it's like the way he goes to identify the issue is kind of revolutionary, and leads to like better sexologists in the future, like adopting the framework, but in a good way. And that book is written in a very like, what's her characters called? I don't know her characters. The Lady Foppington, I think, who talks in like a very old-timey way, and the book is written very much like that. And I was like, God damn, if I could get Natalie to like just read a couple of lines from there, it would be fucking great. Because if I do it, if I quote the literature that I want to quote in my video, it's gonna sound like I'm ripping off Lady Foppington from the ContraPoints videos. It's because that's just how the language was in the English translation of the book. So I have to like risk basically stealing her character, which I don't want to do, or have her read it which would be really cool, but I don't think I'm famous enough to do that yet. Or I would need to like modernize the language, which loses like all of the fun with it, because so much of the fun comes from like him talking about like disastrous masturbators. That's a funny term. That's a funny like series of words, and I want to use that. You're like, you don't have to see them. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to see them, but that's like I'm happy that I don't have to. Like, I still sometimes get people who are like very gender critical in my mentions. I try to be cordial when I can. If someone is like clearly just obviously transphobic, then I just block them. But if someone actually like tries to be like cordial, I try to be cordial back. I try to be nice. I desperately try. But sometimes it doesn't work. Like most of the time it doesn't work. Do you think Donald Trump will be reelected? Nah. Literally, I know better on Twitter yet. For some reason, I've been blocked by Chauvin O'Leary, who I've never interacted with. I guess I'm on block list too. Like a lot of block. Yeah, I feel like a lot of block. I don't like using block lists. I don't use them at all because they might be 99% effective, like actually blocking good people. But then you have that like the 1% of like actual good people who just got like swept up because of either some weird phrasing or a misunderstanding, and that sucks. Or and also you, even if someone is like has awful opinions, a block list just disavows the ability to learn or to let that person like grow and learn on their own, because that person might realize their own failings, become a better person, and then you probably wouldn't, and then you might not like want to block them anymore, but you would never get that chance because you blocked them already, like long before you even knew them, because someone else did years ago when they were a bad person. And I don't know. Block lists in that way is, yeah. Many American conservatives say that he won by a large margin. Can I try with the Google Hangout? I'm probably not gonna try it because I'm only gonna stream for like an hour. Generally, anyway, I'm probably gonna stream a bit more than that. But like, since there's already been so many issues, I'm just gonna call it after a bit when I feel satisfied. And then like I'm gonna talk a bit more, and then I'm gonna talk a bit more about the news. I'm gonna talk a bit more about like my new video that I'm working on, and I'm also gonna talk about some ideas that I have for the channel, some news coming up for my own work, like what I'm gonna do with my channels and stuff. Acquire voice acting minions. What? I mean, kind of. Disastrous masturbators. Like there is so many funny words. Like actually, fuck it, I downloaded it. I downloaded the book recently. I'm actually gonna finish this stream by reading a quote from this wonderful, wonderful book. That's how I'm gonna finish the stream. Fuck it, I can just read a chapter. Fuck it, why not? My channel, I can do what I want. I'm going mad with power. The Republican candidate won the most votes in the 2004 election. Before that, it was in 1988. Democratic candidate won most votes. I mean, like, I think when people say that, like, oh, Hillary can't win, Hillary can't do that, like, Hillary did win the popular vote by a significant margin. I think that people give her a lot of shit for her policy. I think that's fair. But people give her shit for losing. I don't really get that because she won the popular vote by a lot. And it feels so weird to me that people are like, oh, she lost it. She lost because she doesn't know how to like do things. Like, no, like in a democracy, more votes means you win. So I like the electoral college is so fucking dumb. Bad economies are always bad for the incumbent. Yeah. Bad economy is bad for the incumbent, but good for fascists. So who's worse for Trump and so on? I have no idea. Like, I don't think other Republicans are going to challenge the president. I don't think people do that. There's another important question that Peterson asked Destiny that I have to ask you as well. Is Satan your daddy? Yes. Trump has gone down quite a bit in approval in the Rust Belt states, which the only reason he won was a small margin victories in those states. In the US, a bad economy usually leads to a left or Democratic winning. Also, she's gone to the dark side. The only thing left to do is hope we've been nice enough to her to not be on the list. And also Trump cheated. Yeah, I mean, like that's something that really, like, I was never really like super on board with the whole like Russia collusion thing, because it was like, yeah, okay, it's funny, but like American elections just are like that sometimes, where it's like potentially a big scandal and everything is weird, right? And I was like, okay, well, that's it. And people love blaming Russia for everything. But then it didn't go away. And more shit just kept happening. It was like, And I thought first there was like, oh, well, okay, maybe there was some like weird collusion with like WikiLeaks leaking Hillary's emails right before the election, but not the Republican one. And I was like, okay, well, that's shady, but maybe that's it. And then I start hearing like more and more about like how like actual Russia is involved. It's like, is this real? Like, is this actual Watergate things, or is this just still like a meme, basically? And now I don't know. There's been talk of Trump facing a primary, but I doubt that will happen. I doubt that too. He's a president. Like, either like the best case the GOP has is Trump, and that's a bad case currently. But he's the best option they have, simply by name recognition. That is wonderful, optimistic for the US. I'm very mildly positive that Finland's elections in a couple of months might have a big turn left. I think so. Like, actually looking up, I think like historically, when it comes to like big shifts in politics, there is usually like one side comes first, like a little bit of a bump, and then the counter reaction to that comes like, oh, it's just bigger. And this has happened both ways. Like there has been like a small leftist resurgence, and then there has been a huge right wing like counter movement to that. Now the current right wing will try to tell you that like that they are the counter to liberal like shit for the last couple of years, which is bullshit, because over like the last couple of decades, right-wing policies have been the de facto norm, even when it comes to like simply by virtue of like how the economic system works. Like the markets have much more control over our politics than politicians have right now. The marketplace controls so much more, which means that so when the right-wing extreme starts to bump up a little bit too, historically at least, that is the bump. Like that is the current bump. The de facto thing has been like a right-wing wave thing, and then now there's a bit of a right-wing bump. And I hope that in the future there will be like a big leftist counter to this. And we've seen this on like Corbyn's Labour is turning more left. Bernie Sanders is becoming like one of the most popular politicians in American history. And stuff like that. The recent U.S. elections state the Democratic needs to win those 50 days. Obama had more than a few buffer days, whereas Trump doesn't have a buffer. Yeah, I don't think Trump is going to win this election. The left coalition in Denmark. Shout out Lee Anderson. Shout out. The left coalition in Denmark is set to win this year's election. I fucking hope so. Denmark has gone like really right-wing the last couple of years. There's a large amount of Russian and Chinese bots tapping into our network, and that was just for university courseware. I don't think it's overstated. Yeah, that's the thing. That's really scares me too, because we got that too. Like, I didn't even work in federal government. I work in like local government, not one of the big cities even, because we have like 3 big cities. I don't live in one of them, and even we had like our IT people be like, something's going on. I found your channel the other day. I found another left tuber to have a massive crush on, and also know some things. Thank you, thank you. Welcome to the channel. Lee Anderson's good, and I say this as someone who's leaning more to anarcho-syndicalism than parliamentary democracy. Lee Anderson. I'm gonna pull up a tab on to Party Chef the Left Alliance. I wonder if I haven't met this person at like a meet sometime in Stockholm. It's like a conference or something. She looks extremely familiar to me. The German Social Democratic Party is pathetic at the moment. Yup. Get your act together, Germany. Goddamn. Australia needs a left push. Australia, like I feel Australia really needs just a political shakeup, but like you've already had like so many political shakeups. You just need someone who can galvanize people, and I don't know how that's gonna happen. And I don't know who can do that. Australia. I feel for Australia though. I haven't Australia is one of those countries that I really want to visit someday. Trump's popularity went down every day of the shutdown. It was a disaster for popularity, and I can imagine the shutdown being unpopular because like a lot of the people who, because if you're a federal worker, if you're a federal employee and worked for Trump, then like why would you vote for him again? Because he basically like held your job ransom for a while, which it's super weird. Plus, there are so many different policy changes and like regulatory changes that have really like fucked over so-called flyover states, which also have like a large Trump support base sometimes. And now that when the shutdown is temporarily over, it's not even permanently over, it's temporarily over, he didn't even get the funding for the wall. So it's like every single decision that he does, he loses. So he just keeps losing in various different ways, more than I thought was possible. So that's why I really don't think that he will win. She's a Finnish politician. Good one. Australia's a place I need to visit. So many cute snakes and spiders. I remember seeing how Australia had to ban a episode of Peppa Pig because Peppa Pig told kids that spiders aren't scary and spiders are your friends. And you can't have that in Australia because spiders aren't your friends there. You can come stay with me. Do it in spring or autumn. I was about to ask, like, is that my spring or autumn or your spring or autumn? But it doesn't really matter because my autumn is your spring, I think. I don't know. I basically live in Skyrim. Trump's response to the angry federal workers was most unhappy federal Democrats, so they don't matter. And like that is an incredibly like cynical way to look at like governing a country. Never underestimate the power of cognitive dissonance. With the polls and yeah, I mean cognitive dissonance is so fucking hard. Like that's one of the things that I really like. I considered also talking more about that in my anti-intellectualism video, right? Because in that video I try to paint a kind of sympathetic view towards most anti-intellectualists. That's not the correct terminology, but I don't care. I try to be like pretty sympathetic to like let people understand why someone could be basically convinced into it without having necessarily cognitive dissonance, but so many people are just suffering from it so much, and it leads to like them projecting everything. Like, if you look at a right winger like saying something like mean towards someone else or accusing someone else of something, almost always they do that themselves because they're just projecting. It's just, oh right, Australia is burning up. I'm so sorry. If you ever like to visit the UK, you're welcome to Cashew myself. Thank you. This is the good thing about having a fan base. I can just abuse it for travel, so I don't need to get hotels. I'll stop where I go for acknowledge. Drop bears. Oh, drop bears. Fucking drop bears. No. What are the humans and cows are the most dangerous animals there? The most dangerous animal in Australia is the horse, because people ride them and they die. I always preferred Cyrodiil to Scarian. As fictional countries go, I think it's pretty because the plant looks more colorful. I mean, I think the real world equivalent of Cyrodiil is probably like any other place than here, because it looks like Skyrim outside. It's been snowing basically like for 4 days straight. It's awful. It's really cold. I live in a Mad Max, got over 46 degrees. How is Australia? Like, I feel so bad for Australia. I really hope you have like a bunch of ice water, like the lemonade, and pools, and like just everything. Just chill, because 46 degrees centigrade. I can't even imagine that. It's very achievable for the Australian Labor Party to win, even with a small swing towards them. What sucks is one term for Australia is 3 years. That's a pretty short term. I'm pretty sure some more dangerous horses in Australia. Humans suck. I hate humans. Since I killed so many humans. I don't like humans. It's fair. I thought scary was like kind of drab. It is. It's cold outside. Wednesday's high here was going to be like negative 25 centigrade. Yeah. In the UK, we don't know what to do when it hits the 30s. Labour is a much better side. Temperatures, yeah. It's fucked up. Also, it's past 9 and it's been nice hanging out. It's been nice like talking. I was kind of actually really hoping to have some guests on, but in a more structured way, right? Where it's not like 4 or 5 people joining in at the same time, where I can be like, okay, so I'm actually gonna get some news. I'm not gonna quit. I'm gonna have some news first. The new format that I'm doing is that I'm gonna, instead of having like several guests on at the same time, I'm gonna have one guest on. Depending on like if someone has like told me that they're interested either beforehand, or if no one has like announced interest during the stream, and hopefully like the invite system works. It usually works. This is actually the first time the Google Hangout system like actually broke. But I'm gonna use that. I might do that on Discord, so it might just be audio only, but we'll see how that goes. I can probably like do a setup thing where you can have like the webcam in Discord too if you want that. But so I can have one guest on at the same time, so it can be like a bit of a more discussion. But it's gonna be like it's not gonna be like for the whole hour in that case. It's gonna be like I talk a bit about my news and a bit of the channel in the start and the end of the stream, and in the midpoint there I can have like 15-20 minutes talking to a guest, and I was like, okay, that was fun. We came to some nice things, or maybe we debated, or maybe we argued, who knows. And then we can talk, like, you can talk about literally anything. You can talk about like pastries with me, and I will have opinions. And that's the system that I'm going to have from now on, just to have it a bit more structured. It also means that I can communicate a bit more with chat, because when there's a lot of people, I kind of ignore chat, and I don't want to do that. I don't want to ignore chat too much. What is the tier that unlocks Discord? The tier that that's actually good news to get into. The tier that unlocks Discord is $20, which I know is kind of expensive. So like if you don't want to pay that, you can always like DM me on Twitter. My DMs are open, at least currently. You can, if you are a patron of mine at any level, you can send me a message. I think you can do that even if you're not a patron. But like if you are, you can send me a message, and that's also like letting you know that you want to be part of the Hangout. And so more structure on time would be to. I do a thing in the beginning of at the start of most months, every month, where I announce the streams for that month. So I do these kind of stream the last Sunday of every month at 20:00 CET. But I'm gonna admit that I was pretty slow announcing this on Twitter today. But the stream is like this. The Hangout stream is every single the last Sunday of every month at 20:00 CET on this channel. Links are either on this channel, or it's on my Patreon, or it's on my Twitter, or on my Discord. When I remember, I also do it on Reddit, but I barely use Reddit, and I don't really have many people on my subreddit. Oh yeah, but the Discord. So the Discord level is $20, and I know that's kind of expensive. The reason for that is that I don't want to get like socially overwhelmed, because if you follow me for a long time, you know that I've been having like health issues for a while, and I don't want to stress too much by checking Discord like literally every single day, or like literally every single hour or every single day. I don't want to be like constantly bombarded with things. But I know I don't have to do that even if I do have a large Discord server. But what I've done is that I've had it kind of expensive, so that people who do want to support me on that level, they get a bit of like an extra way to communicate with me more directly, in a bit more like in a more conversational tone than you would get on Twitter or on Hangout or whatever, which is available like whenever I'm awake and by the computer. It's more symbolic than it is like practical, but that's just because it's not super practical for me to actually use Discord too much anyway. However, my health is improving, which means that I might do a thing in I think April, maybe. This is a maybe. I'm not making any promises here, but in April I'm gonna turn 26. So either in April or like running up to April, I might revamp my Patreon a bit, because my Patreon right now has kind of been like custom made for my kind of small audience, but my audience is growing right now, so I want more people to have access to the benefits that they want. So I might just do a thing where I just make everything cheaper by a significant margin, like maybe an entire level cheaper, and so that $10. I would still call out your name at $10 because that's already a lot of people at the end of the video, and that's going to take a lot. But like the Discord level would maybe be available at $10, maybe $5, and the $20 tier level that I have currently would be something else, something like something that is a bit more exclusive, that you would like, that feels a bit worth of the money. So more people can join the Discord, and more people get more rewards, and you would get like a month to change your patronage in case you didn't want to pay too much to get a certain reward. I might not do that. Currently, my system kind of works. My channel is growing, my Patreon is growing, everything's kind of going okay. So I might not want to change. I kind of don't want to mess with that too much. But we'll see. If like a lot of people express interest in like join the Discord, I might do a thing in the future, in a couple of months, to like revamp it all, to just make like the fun rewards a bit cheaper, and make other rewards a bit more expensive, maybe. Can someone explain what Discord is? It's basically Skype for gamers. But you have you can use these like server things, so you can have like a specific server only for a certain community, where you have certain roles, and there are like different rooms within the server where you can do different things. So it's basically like a more organized Skype, so more people can join it. I want to back more people on Patreon, but I want to deal with my credit card bill first. That 100% valid. I also want to make this clear. This is the Hangout, so like most people can see this. If you have any kind of economic insecurity, do not fund me on Patreon. Do not give me things on Patreon. Do not give me PayPal donations. If you have any kind of economic insecurity, if you have to make a choice, like even thinking about like, do I buy this piece of food or do I support Mia on Patreon? You buy the piece of food. Like the support I get on Patreon is more donations than an exchange of services, because the main service that I want to provide is my main videos. And the videos are free. Like the videos are publicly available. I don't, and I never want to have that behind a paywall. The only thing I have behind a paywall is like neat things, but the things that I actually am proud of and the things that I want to show off to the world, those will always be publicly available. And if you can't afford like the neat little bonus things to just give me support, then don't do it. I want to say that like specifically here. Everything you donate to me is something that would help me a lot. It would help support me and help support my life as I recover and as my health improves. But I never want people supporting me becoming a burden to someone else. That would be the worst case scenario, and I definitely would never want that in my entire life. So if you ever have like a credit card bill, food bill, anything, focus on yourself. Only if you have like a little bit of extra money, I feel comfortable taking that. But then again, I don't know your life. I don't know what you want to do. Like if you desperately want to do that, then do it. I can stop you. I'm just telling you that I'm a person on the internet. I'm not that important. I appreciate every single dollar that I get, and I love every single dollar I get, and I spend it on food and rent. But I never want to give the impression that I'm like asking for money or like begging for it or trying to shame anyone into giving to me, because I desperately don't want to do that. Like I desperately want everyone to be comfortable. I want everyone to be comfortable if they can afford to give $0 to me and just enjoy my content, or if they can afford to give $100 to me and enjoy my content. I want everyone to feel an equal amount of comfort. That's all I want. I just want everyone to feel good. I want everyone to feel comfortable. I want everyone to just feel nice and good. I hope that makes sense. I feel like I'm not smart enough to warrant the Discord award. Like, I should mention that we have the Discord currently is kind of small. I'm not gonna lie. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 people. Maybe 5 of which are actually like active on it. We have a room called shitposting. We have another one called memes. So like, like if you feel that, because I've had this a lot where some of my fans have also like expressed that I like your content, I like what you do, but I don't feel smart enough to like interact with you. And like everyone is smart enough to interact with me because I'm a fucking dumbass. Just like the only thing that I have, the only benefit that I have is that I spent several years of my life basically living in like old books and reading about ideology for my entire life. But like I don't know shit about like real life. So like in the Discord, like interacting with me, like I'm a normal ass person. I'm a normal ass human being with flaws and issues. No, I am a dumbass, and I'm proud of it. I'm proud of being a dumbass. I'm a proud dumbass. Because, and I mentioned this a lot, because not only am I dumbass, I'm a pretty privileged dumbass, because I have a university education. I am white. I have like somewhat supportive parents. I live in I live in the cleanest city on earth. Like I live in the city. Like I'm a very privileged person, and that by virtue of being that, I become a dumbass, because there are so many perspectives that I will never understand, that I will never have, and that means that one day on Twitter I will have a really bad take, and I want everyone to know that I'm a dumbass with everything that I post, so that you know that it's okay to call me a dumbass when I act like a dumbass, because I am a dumbass. I'm STEM smart. I just dabble in politics. See that exactly. Like I ideological history. That's my jam. Chemistry, don't know shit about it. Biology, what? What is a cell? The mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. That's literally all I know. Physics, space-time, fun. Maths, I don't know maths. Geography, I know from video games. Let's see, other fun facts that I don't know anything about. Moral philosophy, I don't know shit about moral philosophy. Political philosophy, yeah. Moral philosophy, what? Economics, not like the philosophical ideological aspect. I get it. Talking about like how the stock market and taxes work. In a like not in an ideological sense, but in a practical, I have to pay my taxes right now sense. I don't know shit. I've been bothered with this like for the last week because I actually earn enough money on Patreon now. Thank you very much for that, by the way. But that I have to register that income with the Swedish tax office, and I have to pay tax on that. And because Sweden, the government does my taxes for me, and I double check their work, but I have no idea how to report in my income from Patreon. I have no idea how to do that. I'm working on it, though. Don't worry. Mia is very approachable and not elitist. Thank you. I mean, I'm elitist, but I just like to be approachable. I don't think he even knows how to beat Beaver Bother. Oh yeah, Graham. Yeah, Graham Linehan is fucking dumbass. But like even then, I do kind of want to like. He doesn't know how to write comedy because he doesn't. He does bad things, but he knows how TV kind of works. He knows how to write scripts, even if they're bad. Like, but he knows how to do it. I don't know that shit. I know how to do it for like YouTube videos, but he knows how to like write scripts for TV series. I don't know that shit. Like he knows shit. It's just that he's a dumbass in every other field. And then I have a large credit card bill, and it isn't threatening to me so much as annoying. Yeah, then focus on the credit card bill. Like I get that. Like I have debts too. Like yeah, I don't support anyone on Patreon because I can't afford it. I haven't gotten a new phone, which I kind of desperately need because I can't afford it. And I don't feel shameful about that. I don't feel shameful about admitting that. But I desperately don't want anyone else to like spend money on me that they could spend on themselves if they need it. I'm gonna do the Marie Kondo thing here, where it's like if giving money to me gives you more joy than doing something else, then fine, do whatever you want. Like self-care and self-needs go before wants, and I'm a want, if anything. Typically, sense and credit, I'm fine. I just don't like having decent kids. I'm sure yeah, that's extremely valid. Knowing STEM isn't much use for politics, though. Tends to breed dude bros with facts and logic, though. So you're really better in arts and humanities. Arts and humanities is really fun, but you do end up with like these like staircase philosophers, as I call them, where they like sit and smoke cigarettes and talk about how farmers should like stop making food because you can like buy cheaper shit in the store. It's like, okay. I love arts philosopher people because like my closest friend group is like very artsy philosophy people, and I love them so much. But like when it comes to like the real world, sometimes it's kind of hard. Same for me though. Like when I talk about anti-intellectualism in the video, I'm a fucking dumbass. It's just that I think history is the best kind of dumbass. When I was 16, I was such a dumbass. I didn't even know what was right wing and what was left wing. Same. When I was 16, I wanted to found a political party based on technocratic centrism. I had no idea what those words meant. Wasn't Black Books? Black Books? I have no idea what that is. There's a new tab. I get a lot of reading things here. Black Books. I've seen this. That's Bill Bailey. It's cool. I'm gonna see what that is. It's a dumbass to even get a gender when they were getting out. Ah, God. I'm such a dumbass. I got the wrong one. Do you hear Come Town? I have no idea what Come Town is. Come Town, girl. Graham is becoming the new Anita Bryant for trans people, as she was for gay people. Yeah. Oh my God, you need to get Black Books. It's amazing. Okay. Technocratic centrism sounds like the parry for aggressively mediocre cyborgs. Yes. Like, it's something that I did. Like, it's something I was a fucking dumbass though, because I thought that I was left wing, but I didn't know what left wing meant. And I was friends with someone who was right wing, but he definitely knew what right wing meant. And I realized that now when I'm an adult. He was like 5 years older than me also, and we kind of decided to found a new political party in Sweden in order to like. And it was entirely populist. It was entirely populist party, but we thought that we would change the world. But then he voted for the Sweden Democrats, and I voted for like the left party. And then as soon as I like read a book, I realized that, oh, I'm a dumbass. I have no idea what I'm doing. Greyland handles the first series of Black Books and the RTD card. Oh, that sucks. I like the RT card, unfortunately. Like, there are some very specific episodes that are like, oh, that sucks. But I think that some jokes are really funny. Like, to be fair, like the new emergency services. 4118-999-881999-9119-725-3. That's funny. Okay. I realized I've kept streaming like for an additional half an hour. Okay, so well, anyway, that's the news about the Patreon thing. So I might change that in order to be a bit cheaper, so more people can have things. Because one of the things that I really want to focus on is, now that I have more fans, I've had a bit of anxiety to make sure that every one of my fans feels like they feel seen, they feel validated, they feel that they are heard. I want everyone to I don't want anyone to feel ignored by me, especially like if they are a subscriber or if they're a follower on Twitter or if they're Patreon. I want everyone to like feel like it doesn't matter. I just want everyone to feel that they are that I love them because I do. I really value like every single thing of interaction that happens to any of my content. So I might make things cheaper just to include more people, because I want more people to like be part of the Mia gang. And then I talked before December, and I realized that like I have a lot more fans now. But like before December, I talked about like how I wanted to do vlogs on this channel, the live channel. I'm most definitely gonna do that. It's just that like the last video took up a big chunk of my time, and then the Donkey Kong stream took up like a significant. That took about like a fucking weekend. And the week following that, and like before that, I've had family health issues, which have also taken up like a significant part of my mind. But there's nothing I can do about that, so like I'm not going to dwell on that. I'm not going to get distracted about that. I keep getting distracted. Shit. Yes, I also do want to play video games like more. I want to do that more. I had a poll on my Twitter like a couple of days ago, maybe about yesterday, where I asked if I should, because I've been playing some games on YouTube Gaming, but it hasn't really felt comfortable. But I'm considering playing on Twitch instead. Now, I've boycotted Twitch for years, spending any money on it, being on it. The only thing I watch, like when I watch Destiny, I don't watch him on Twitch. I watch him on YouTube. But like, it doesn't really matter at that point, right? Because Twitch is owned by Amazon, YouTube is owned by Google. The other one is owned by Microsoft, so it doesn't really matter. Like, they're all owned by like these massive conglomeration companies. And at that point, I feel like I might as well just do what is best for my content and my audience. And I think Twitch is just better for games. It also separates away like the game content away from these kinds of live streams, the Hangouts, and future vlogs. So it's a bit more sorted content. Plus, like video games, that's just streams. Who cares? Do you have any consoles? No, I'm a PC gamer. I'm a PC bitch. I've literally, ever since I was a kid, I've only played on PC. I got a Nintendo Wii once, and that was fun. And that's still on my parents. The only games I have on it is Guitar Hero 3, which I rocked at. I think it was like a Harry Potter role-playing game, which was actually pretty fun. And something else. But like I play PC games exclusively today. Unless I play like on my roommate's VR headset, which is really fun. Can we have a 25 tier when we shout at your roommate? Yes. They would actually be into that. I can probably do that. Most of it watching your hair, I'm guessing. I like people ask me like the hair thing. The hair wasn't that bad. It was literally just a shower. One hot shower, syrup gone. I mean, I've tried YouTube and Xbox back in the day. Yeah, I like Twitch. Just seems better for games. They have the time advantage. No ethical consumption. Yeah, like if and when my channel becomes like the next PewDiePie, like PewDiePie 2, good this time, then I'm just then I might start my own service thing where instead of like creators getting like 45% of the income, they get like 95% of the income or some shit like that. It's like syndicalist Twitch or something like that. And I might do that someday. I have a lot of like those plans, like if and when I get rich somehow, I'm just gonna spend it on creating services that won't benefit Jeff Bezos, but ironically, potentially like benefiting me instead, which isn't really better. Any games in mind? Songless Skies. I'm playing a lot of Songless Sea. I love Songless Sea, and I really want to play Songless Skies. I haven't played it because it's not out yet. It's on early access, and I don't want to play it on early access. I want to wait till the stories are out. But I really want to play that on stream. I really want to like dig into the stories because I love that shit. It's great. Well, you know where to find your devil. Boo for Bezos. Boo for Bezos. I was a bit angry at Twitch for banning Narcissa Wright. Who's that? American Speedrunner. What was she banned? Huh. Have you played Arenas? No. I've had Sunlessy on my Need to Playlist forever. It's really good. Didn't you say you live near the golden one, that muscular Swedish guy on YouTube? I am 95% sure I do. I like whenever like if I ever go into like his Instagram account or like look at his content, which I rarely do, but if I do, I try to like look at images in the background, like buildings, landscapes, things like that. I am like so sure I've seen so many of those things in the town I currently live in. I think we live in the same town. I think. I'm not sure, but I think. It's scary. Super happy with those guys. Someone says it's pretty good. Someone who's suited to play Fallen London just for years. I haven't played Fallen London that much though. I started an account, but I never got into it. Like it doesn't really work for me. I think Matt Lees did a video about how Sunless Sea is a boring game because it's basically Fallen London, but you have to be in a boat and just do nothing for hours. But I think that's a crucial part of the gameplay where it's like, yeah, I can't do that right now. I just need to like be terrified for a while, like just sink into the universe, and that works. It adds. Sweden isn't particularly large. It's the third largest country, I think, in the European Union. It's Sweden is large. It's just that like half of it is unpopulated. Like the northern bits at the coast are like there are some cities there, and then like some city up there. But like the only areas where people actually live, like most of the northern half of Sweden is like forest. It's just nothing. It's just Arctic, either mountainous or forested terrain, and that's it. Maybe there's a village or two, but that like not much. The southern tip of Sweden, that's where you get like different towns and cities and like large villages and things like that. That's where people actually live because it's not negative 45 degrees. It's worth to notice though that the northern tip of Sweden is not Swedish. It's colonized area from that's like Sweden just took that from the native population. So we have our own colonial history closer to home, which sucks, and I don't like that. I made a statement on Twitter a while ago where I said that America is one of the few countries that hasn't decolonialized, and then I realized, oh yeah, right, half of Sweden is basically just like expansionists colonies into the north to get natural resources from the forest and the mountain. We have a bad history with that, unfortunately. Had an Irish girlfriend who made vlogs in Ireland, and even that made me uncomfortable. I can't imagine living near her. It makes me uncomfortable. One of the two games I own which has you play as an explicitly trans character. That's fun. I'm gonna look at that too. A yacht fan should like to be just being on a boat for a long time. Yeah, I do like being on yachts. I swear though, like if I can somehow explode a Patreon somehow, I would try to give most of that away. I don't want to be a rich person. That's first of all, it's unethical. But first of all, I wouldn't know what to do with it. Like, oh, I can buy food, clothes, and games, and I'm happy now. Like, what more would I need? The only luxury item that I would ever want or need or like desire is a yacht, because I like boats. Like, and that's because I wanted to join the Navy when I was a teenager. I trained and joined the Marines and / the Navy, and I wanted to like do that. And I sailed a lot, and I was on boats a lot, and I missed that. It's ingrained in me. I still have my sea legs, and I'm never gonna get rid of them. Oh god, I need to quit because I've been streaming for way too long. After a year or so grinding, you can be on a boat in Florida for hours. I'm guessing FL is Florida. Like, I believe how these people act IRL is likely so different than the Airtel line. Between who? Between me and the golden one? Don't forget about the small indigenous Sami populations of North. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Finland's also colonial, so Sami. Yeah, like Scandinavian, like people give Scandinavian countries like, oh well, at least they're not colonialist. I'm like, well, yeah, U.S., Canada, Russia, Sweden. Australians have a warped perspective of size. I'm at work right now, so I can't stick around, but I just want to say I love you and everything you do. Thank you so much. I have a rich family. It's insane to me that they spend more on the house than I will ever see in my lifetime. Like, that's a fun thing too that I need to talk about before I leave. I need to leave urgently, but I need to talk about that too, because housing, there's a massive housing crisis in Sweden right now. So If you want to buy an apartment, for example, in Stockholm, that is incredibly expensive. Rents are through the roof if you just want to rent an apartment. If you want to buy an apartment, that's like millions and millions of crowns that you have to put down. Like not put down to get a loan, but like that's the total cost of the apartment, right? You can get a literal mansion outside of the town where I live currently, which is like, it's a small town, but if you buy a mansion out in the country, because this is like the old aristocracy area, where like the Swedish nobility used to live. So they have thousands of mansions just laying around and doing nothing. You can buy a mansion cheaper than you can buy an apartment in Stockholm. So I'm actually seriously considering, like, in the future, when I like, if I get like a stable living, either on YouTube or doing other things, or like to get like selling books or whatever, like selling poetry, for example. I have a poetry, like I am a published poet technically. So if I ever like make a living out of that, like make good money, I should just buy a fucking mansion out in the countryside, and then just have a lot of people live there. Because like I can either buy a mansion or a shitty apartment in Stockholm. Sure, I would be far away from Stockholm and I would be far away from like the city life, but I would have a mansion. You could just, at that point, you could just like have a party there. You wouldn't even need clubs. You can just have a club in the mansion. Invite people over for a weekend. I know y'all people, so when you get the streamer ducats, even if I could have all the money I ever own at once, I don't think I would have much to spend in a house. Yeah, like I live at home, so I don't pay rent. I also don't spend much. When I looked at my bank account, I realized I have a responsibility to use that money wisely. Anglo-Saxons and the Vikings too. Yeah. Ireland was colonized and we're still kind of regressive assholes. Is that a consolation? I feel so bad for Ireland though. Because that's like Ireland has been like so exploited by so many different people, and I feel so bad because like we were the first. Like we came there and started the entire thing, and then everyone else was like, "Oh yeah, let's keep doing that." If you buy a mansion, I would happily accept employment as your butler. Sure. Fun fact: an apartment in Stockholm can cost more than the government loses in welfare fraud. Yeah, welfare fraud is not a big problem in Sweden. Housing is one of the biggest issues with most majors, and the world has a lot to do with income inequality. Oh yeah. Housing is a fake problem. A bit of doing. Yeah, it's actually, yeah, it's a capitalist problem, right? Because there are many empty houses, and you can't, like, if people just, if there were like some way to distribute that between the people who need housing, we wouldn't have a housing crisis. But unfortunately, we do like live under capitalism, and within that system, it's more affordable for me to literally buy a mansion in like the Swedish former like in the Swedish aristocratic like grasslands where I live, than it is to buy an apartment in Stockholm. And like getting an apartment in Stockholm is probably fine, but like I kind of want to live in the country anyway, so why not buy a fucking mansion and rent out most of the rooms so more people can have a house, a place to live. In San Francisco, the housing issue is beyond horrible. I don't know. San Francisco doesn't have at least 3 roommates. I can see that. No, there's nothing to do with that. We were elsewhere. A lot of this system needs to have a more robust public housing system. Sweden has had this problem before, and we fixed it with something called the Million Project. Basically, urbanization in Sweden, because we urbanized really quickly after the World Wars. Because we used to be one of the poorest countries on earth, and then we became really rich by selling iron and stuff to the Nazis, and by not having our industry destroyed during the wars. So Sweden urbanized really, really quickly, and we got like a massive housing crisis where people would live like extreme overcrowding in apartments in town. So Sweden did something called the Million Project, where they would build 1 million new housing, 1 million new apartments, basically. and then they were really cheap. They were really affordable. They've kind of they have a bad name now because like some of the areas have become kind of, they say slums and no-go zones, but they're not. But the buildings don't look very nice today because they're old. They look like these like communist tenements basically because they're very identical. But say what you want about that project, it worked. Like it drove down housing prices extremely much. Everyone had access to an apartment. Like sure, it might not be super great, but a shitty apartment and a shitty apartment is still your own apartment. Like that's better than a lot and what a lot of other people have currently. Like if you would have to force people like 8 people living in like in an overcrowded kind of nice-ish apartment, or 8 apartments that are like okay, but they're not super good, but they could have their own space. That is infinitely better. Like, and I'm not saying that that would be nice. I'm saying that like that's better for individual health, the economy, the like consumer buying thing, like individual saving. Like there are so many different things that are good with just having your own space, or like you're like not necessarily having your own space, but having your own allotment of space, so overcrowding isn't an issue. Having a not overcrowded space is really good, but a lot of apartments are currently overcrowded because you need to in order to survive. NIMBYs is a people don't want to build anything that would obstruct their view. We have a similar problem here in Sweden, in Stockholm. We have a weird, dumb thing about Vikings. Like we sort of like the idea of them. I don't get why people like the idea of Vikings. They weren't good people. I don't see why people like it. The only thing that Vikings are like separates, the only thing that separates Vikings from other Europeans at the time is that they were like they lived on shitty land and they couldn't farm. So the only thing that so what they had to do in order to not starve was to go somewhere else, steal gold, then go somewhere else again and sell the gold for food. Like, yeah, of course someone's gonna build a boat so they can do that. Like, necessity is the mother of invention, as they say. It's not that like the Vikings were good shipbuilders. It's like, no, the Vikings were shitty farmers. I live in Dublin with 7 roommates and it's still ridiculously expensive. Kind of like Pyre. Tell people separate for stories. The Million Project apartments in Cousin saying, yeah. But that, and yeah, that's just because they it's like, even if it's shitty apartments in the Million Project, it's still an apartment. It's still good, and because there's such a housing crisis in the big cities currently, those apartments still sell for millions of crowns. Okay, I need to go. I talked about how I'm gonna buy a fucking mansion and a yacht with my money, but I also talked about how I don't want you to give me money if you can't afford it. So I feel justified. Thank you so much for hanging out. I probably missed talking about something because I kept like getting distracted by chat. You're so good. I love you so much. You're the best. You don't have to be. Oh yeah, I should also mention this. You don't have to be afraid to message me about literally anything. If you have a question about my content, my Patreon, my practices, anything, let me know. Like, as long as you ask it in a nice way, I will almost definitely like provide. As long as you're not like, if you're not a dick about it, then I'm probably, yeah, I'm gonna be like, if you're a dick to me, I'm gonna be a dick to you. But if you're nice to me, I'm gonna be nice. But that's just common courtesy things. You know that. Like, you don't have to feel like, don't be a stranger. You can ask me about anything, and I think I have everything. I think that's it. I think I don't have anything else to say. I'm sorry if I missed something in chat. I'm yeah. This has been fun. Next time, I'm probably gonna use Discord because that works, and Google Hangout is a really, really bad system, and I'm probably not gonna use that again. So next time, I'm hopefully gonna be able to have guests on. Thank you so much. Bye.